American Airlines is the largest airline in the world. More passengers, more flights, more planes than anyone else. So explain this. Over the last decade, its smaller rival Delta has quietly made billions more in profit. Same planes, same fuel, same sky. The difference is what happened in the boardroom. While American Airlines chased size, slashed its product, and tried to copy low-cost carriers, Delta spent the same years doing the opposite. In this video, we're not just asking why American Airlines stopped making money. We're asking a sharper question. How did Delta beat American Airlines at its own game? And can American Airlines ever catch up? It sounds like a corporate paradox. A giant with an underperforming bottom line. This is a story of strategy, incentives, and how different airlines think about value. To understand this story, you have to go back to the boardroom obsession that shaped American Airlines' strategic identity. Size is strength. After exiting bankruptcy, American Airlines made one strategic choice above all others: to be the biggest. Bigger network, more flights, more planes. That merger in 2013 created a behemoth, a network unmatched in domestic reach. It was a defining moment, celebrated with press releases and Wall Street applause. But that applause came with strings attached and a constant threat: stay big, keep growing, or risk being punished by the market. Analysts began valuing American Airlines on top-line metrics: available seat miles, daily departures, hub dominance. Growth was the narrative, margin was secondary. In quarterly earnings calls, executives leaned into size metrics, flights, seats, routes, like they were strategic achievements in themselves. But to airlines, scale is not a guarantee of profitability. It's a tool. In the wrong hands, that tool can turn into a weapon against your own balance sheet. And like any tool, its value depends on how you wield it. Meanwhile, the debt load from restructuring and fleet investments remained heavy. Over $30 billion in long-term liabilities. Debt pressures forced a blunt focus on cost metrics that looked good in short-term earnings reports, but sometimes undermined strategic resilience. Delta and United saw the trend, but they chose a different reference point. Delta, in particular, treated scale as a means, not an end, balancing growth with reliability, premium experience, and customer revenue per seat. United leaned farther into global connectivity and premium product differentiation. American, in contrast, seemed to chase a single KPI that was never actually tied to sustainable profit: size. This is our motive: a strategic fixation on the wrong thing. When you're obsessed with cost, the answer always looks like cut more, charge more. And that became American Airlines' strategic gambit: copy the appearance of low-cost carriers while retaining the infrastructure and cost base of a legacy airline. This was not an offhand approach. It was a formal strategy implemented across the system. Seats were squeezed, premium space converted into more coach rows, seatback screens ripped out, and service trimmed back. Anything that didn't lower cost per available seat mile was on the chopping block. On spreadsheets, this looked appealing. More seats means more revenue opportunities. Lower cost per ASM is more competitive edge. The logic was simple: reduce cost per seat, be more competitive on price, fill more seats. But here's the wrinkle: that very logic assumed passengers are commodities, indifferent to experience once price is similar. That's not how premium travel works. Customers who pay higher fares, especially business travelers, do not treat comfort as fungible. If you deprioritize product quality to chase a cost advantage that only matters at the lowest fare points, you risk cannibalizing your highest yield customers, the ones who make the difference between a break-even business and a healthy margin. Delta recognized this early. While American Airlines densified cabins, Delta invested in theirs. Refreshed interiors, newer seats, more consistent service standards, and a coherent strategy that maintained distinct value tiers. American's gambit was a strategic bet, not a tactic. And like all gambits, it came with risk. The risk that the very customers who pay the most might choose somewhere else. And that's exactly what happened. American Airlines customer satisfaction metrics began sliding. Net promoter scores, passenger surveys, brand perception studies all showed one trend. Customers were less satisfied. Once loyal flyers began shifting behavior quietly but systematically. Frequent business travelers, the most profitable segment, started booking Delta or United more often, especially on routes where premium service is valued. Picture two similar flights: an American flight where the cabin feels tight, service is perfunctory, and reliability is average, versus a Delta flight with newer seats, consistent service, and a perception of value. Which one are you willing to pay more for? Many business travelers made that choice repeatedly. One corporate travel manager told that over multiple quarters, her expense reports began showing more Delta tickets, not because they were cheaper, they weren't, but because employees preferred them enough to justify the fare difference. That's a shift. When you consider how sensitive corporate travel policies usually are to price, these changes didn't explode in headlines. There were no viral complaints. It was a slow erosion. Real, measurable, and ultimately costly. Americans' customer perception slipped just when it needed it most, at the top end of the market, where margins are highest. What were Delta and United doing while American Airlines was tightening seats and trimming services? They were focusing on what economists call revenue quality, not just revenue quantity. Delta made a sustained, disciplined investment in cabin experience, reliability, and loyalty integration. From revamped interiors to improved operations, Delta positioned itself as the airline passengers prefer, not just tolerate. Delta's operational excellence became its brand. Where other airlines struggled with delays and cancellations, Delta increasingly controlled its own narrative by focusing on reliability. Boarding, departure, arrival, not just cost. United took a complementary path. It leaned into global connectivity and premium products, especially its Polaris business class, that allowed it to capture lucrative long-haul corporate revenue. Polaris wasn't cheap to install, but it proved that premium experience pays dividends in customer loyalty and yields. While American Airlines' strategy compressed the product toward cost, Delta's and United's strategies elevated the product toward value. That meant more premium seats, higher revenue per passenger, stronger loyalty revenue, and, crucially, pricing power. One former airline strategist summarized it this way: American was racing to cost parity with low-cost carriers. Delta and United weren't just filling planes. They were optimizing who sat in them and what they paid. That difference in goals mattered more than most analysts realized at the time, and here's where the paradox flips into a full-blown financial reality. Despite revenue growth and massive scale, American Airlines' profit margins lagged behind its rivals. Delta and United routinely posted higher adjusted pre-tax margins, often by several percentage points, while American Airlines struggled to keep pace. Remember, airlines make most of their money not on seat count but on fare yield, what each passenger pays relative to the cost of carrying them. If you fill every seat but at a low price, your top line looks healthy, until you see the bottom line. American Airlines' product compression strategy lowered yields, especially on premium business routes where yield matters most. In contrast, Delta and United held firm on pricing where the experience justified it, and captured more premium revenue share as a result. The financial results are stark. American Airlines margins, consistently lower than Delta's and United's. Delta's margins, steady, above industry median, driven by premium revenue and loyalty program earnings. United, boosted by international long-haul revenue and premium cabins. If we imagine airline economics as a race, American sprinted for capacity while Delta paced itself for profit per mile. This is where the strategy's gamble became a liability. Not just a choice, but a constraint. Lower yields meant American Airlines had to fly more people just to match the revenue of competitors, flying fewer but higher-paying passengers. That compresses margins and erodes financial resilience. So here's the lesson this story leaves us with. You can't cost-cut your way to a premium brand. American Airlines became the biggest airline on Earth, but in doing so, it pursued scale at the expense of strategic value. It cut costs not just where necessary, but where customers noticed. It pursued metrics that looked good on paper, but failed to capture what passengers are actually willing to pay for. Delta and United didn't just make products. They made strategic bets on experiences that translate into pricing power, loyalty, and sustainable margins. They treated revenue quality as a priority, not an afterthought. American Airlines now faces a strategic crossroads. It must recognize that largest is not the strongest, especially in an industry where customer preference and pricing power define profitability more than fleet size. The biggest airline in the world isn't doomed, but it must rethink its own narrative. If American Airlines wants to reclaim true leadership, it needs to shift from scale metrics to value metrics. It must invest where margins come from, not just where cost can be cut. Because in aviation, like any business, strategy is not about how big you are. It's about how effectively you translate that size into profit. And if you learned something new today, hit like and subscribe, because the skies are never boring when money, politics, and mystery collide. Thanks for watching.